guaranteed income that was going to come from it. So it was just kind of this weird, cool confluence of a lot of influences in my life, loving vinyl, loving to work on mechanical things, like having an audio background. It just all kind of came together. It was very, at the time, seemed very surreptitious that it just all kind of formed into that point and said, this is what you're going to do. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to roll with this and like see what happens. And it's been pretty good to us. I mean, things are a little weird now, but things are weird for everybody right now. So,
right.
The demand won't go away completely. We may see a downturn for a while, but we're going to make adjustments and, do what we can.
How exactly did you learn to use the machines?
I brought it home. I set it up in my mother-in-law's garage, and I just went for it. And my mentor was a guy named Albert Grundy, who was the guy that sold me the machine. And I would just call him on the phone and ask him questions. And I had the basic owner's manual for the machine, and I talked to a few people. I had traveled to a place in Virginia and spent a day with a guy where he kind of showed me like some of the basics. And then I just got the machine and brought it home and went for it. And it took me about like 2 months to figure it out. And then, so it would have been actually June of 2010 that I sent my first lacquer master out to be plated for production. And that was the most tense. It takes about a month for it to go to plating and come back and then get a test pressing made. And that was one of the most tense months of my life. Waiting, did I do this right? Is it going to is it going to skip? Is it going to do this? And then, now we're just okay, if something's wrong, we'll hear about it,
yeah. And a lacquer, to be clear, a lacquer is when you cut the music directly into the piece of material that is used to make the stampers out of, right?
Yes, the material itself is called a lacquer because it's a nitrocellulose lacquer coating that's on top of an aluminum disc. It's a lot like nail polish, and then that's the lacquer, and it's blank when we pull it out of the box. And then so we cut the audio into the disc, and then when they plate it, they create two different things. They create stampers, which are a negative image. If you think about, we're sending them something that has grooves on it that you can put on a turntable and play. So the first thing they make is a negative image called a stamper. And then they make from that stamper, they make another metal piece called a mother, then which is another positive image made out of metal. And so a stamper, when you put it in a press, is good for maybe about 1,000 cycles through the pressing machine, and then it breaks. It wears out. And so you need to make more stampers if you're going to make thousands of copies of a record. So that mother that they have in stores, they can continue to make more stampers from that until you make 50,000 records, and then the mother wears out and you got to cut a new lacquer for it. But then there's another step called 3-step processing, which extends the life of that first lacquer that you send out. But yeah, so basically the lacquer is the first step in the production of a vinyl record. And it's the transference of the audio from whatever format supplied to us, whether it's tape or digital, onto the lacquer, onto a disc surface, then it can be reproduced mechanically.
Is the lacquer a same thing as an acetate?
Yes.
Okay, so it has, because I have some acetates and it has it has the metal on the inside, and then it's coated in the thing that you can play. Yes, that's the nitrocellulose lacquer. That's the coating on it. So that's been something they've been using since the 50s, since they first started pressing records.
Lacquer discs have been around since about the early 1930s. And before that, they made records. They would cut literally on a slab of wax. And that's why they call it waxing a record, because it was a big, thick slab of wax that they would cut the master on, and they would pack it in dry ice, and they would ship it to the plating facility. And then so that got phased out in the late 1920s. As far as I can figure, and lacquer discs came in about in the early 1930s.
So how do you think that the quarantine is going to affect your business much? Do you see anything changing currently, or is it more or less the same?
No, we've seen a definite decrease in the orders coming through the pressing plants. And what I'm worried about is that an extended shutdown, especially in terms of musicians playing live, if they can't go out there and play and sell a product and make money and afford to make records, then it's going to really trickle down to us. And so, I'm already working on ways through live streaming and stuff like that, and the Earnest Tube, how we can retool the Earnest Tube to actually, find ways to help artists develop art audiences like beyond, playing out live in front of crowds, because it could be a year to 18 months before we see, that stuff coming back.
Right. Yeah. And also there's like that big fire at that lacquer plant, like 6 months ago or something?
That was back in early February. That was Apollo Mastering Supply in Banning, California that burned down. Yeah.
And you were telling me that there's really only like a couple places to get lacquers in the first place, right?
Yeah. Now there's only one.
That's crazy.
And they're in Japan.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of artists that I normally wouldn't have gotten to see because they don't tour through Ohio like on live stream lately, which is kind of cool. But it's also it's just a different experience seeing somebody play on your computer than being able to go see them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of that stuff too, and like Dave and I, my partner, we have some ideas how to like kind of maybe ramp up the experience a little bit, make it a little bit the audio quality a little bit better, and the whole experience a little bit better. In terms of especially getting musicians to promote their products that they have for sale, whether it's T-shirts or records or whatever. I mean, I need to see records being able to be sold so artists will make records, So right. I think that's, and through the Earnest Tube, we already have like a lot of those tools in place. We have the live streaming ability, the ability to mix a nice, audio stream into Facebook and stuff like that. So, it's, something we're going to, give a shot at, because I mean, if people can't tour, then, everybody's fucked, really.
Yeah. And Earnest Tube is your live to lacquer recording studio in Bristol, Virginia.
That is correct. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I really need to make it down there sometime when we can like travel again.
Oh yeah. I think you would dig it. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, and we have a lot of digital tools down there too. So, I mean, we're going to try and integrate all this into something that, a virtual venue or whatever you want to call it, to help get musicians gigs so they can like promote themselves and still build some kind of fan base that, is viable.
Right. And the point of it being in Bristol is, you said it's like 100 yards away from the original recording place with Jimmy Rogers and the Carter family and stuff.
Yeah, we're about 500 feet away from where Jimmy Rogers and the Carter family recorded their first sides.
That's crazy, man. Is that history
and our build
pretty alive down there, right? I mean, they have like the museum and stuff.
Oh yeah, the museum, the radio station. I mean, it's the festival, the Bristol Rhythm and Roots reunion. All of that is, in the spirit of that, So I dig that a lot. And the building that we have, it was built probably in the early 1900s. So, I sit and look at that thing and think like, Jimmy Rogers could have like walked right in front of this building, like, because it was there. And I mean, yeah, to me, it's crazy. And it just, it fits what I'm into: country music, history, and, trying to twist technology. I mean, because, in 1927, that shit was like cutting edge. I mean, a record was a cutting edge thing at the time, So, it was newsworthy. And I think, we're trying to do something the same way, but, just with whatever the technology we have now.
Right. Yeah. So the way it works there is somebody records live and it just goes like directly into a cutting lathe and right onto the disc.
Pretty much. Yeah. And then we integrate modern technology by, we split the signal as it comes off of the microphone preamp. So we record everything into Pro Tools also. So we have safety copies of everything. And then after we cut on the lacquer, we also transcribe that lacquer disc into the digital realm so people can use it on, social media or put it on Spotify or, our friend Tim Easton made a whole record called Paco and the Melodic Polaroids that turned out amazing. I mean, he was infinitely like prepared when he sat down. He did like 14 songs in like 6 hours. It was crazy, but it's a really cool record and it's got a certain vibe to it. And that I don't think you could create in another way.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're running it through the Pro Tools and the lacquer are being recorded at the same time, right?
They are, yes.
So you're not running it. You're not running it into digital and then using the digital signal to go into the lacquer.
No, we split the signal so one goes to Pro Tools and one goes to the cutting lathe.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Is business pretty good? Do you have people coming in and recording?
We were starting to pick up some steam before all this happened.
Yeah.
And, we have We have a performance space there to do live shows. We've been doing songwriter nights called For the Song's Sake, where we bring in 3 songwriters and they all do short sets. And I think in May we're gonna. I just talked to the woman who was hosting that for me, and we're gonna try and convert it over into a live stream thing in May and see where we can take it from there.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd like to make it down there and play some tunes down there or something.
Oh yeah, I would love to have you DJ down there. It'd be a lot of fun.
It'll be fun.
We'll see when we can all start traveling again. We'll make it work out.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I think that's for the most part what I wanted to ask you about. Unless you had something else you want to talk about.
Cool, man. No, I think we covered a lot.
Do you want to just give a quick plug to whatever you got going on? And we kind of already talked about it.
Birthplace of country music in Bristol, Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah, birthplace of country music. And then me and you will have a show on the radio station down there coming up in sometime in the next couple months.
I'm stoked, man. I hope we can get it going by June, man.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, man. It's been good to talk to you.
Okay, cool, man. Once we get this moved on, I'll hit you up and we'll get together and check out the gear.
I will. All right, talk to you later.
Racket being made in the world today, and these drum machines all sound the same. I think I hear a song, mostly just fun and games. Call me old-fashioned or behind the times, but the one who got the ass shaking every night was Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Get a little sip of whiskey, put the lights down low, drop a clean needle on a stereo, grab her by the belt buckle, call out her name. Give her a kiss, spin her around, soon she wanna go downtown to see Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. The floor, the waitress just danced out the door. The boss man said she had to catch a midnight train. Some girls like to keep it clean, some girls like to get down and mean to Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James. Elmo James.
All right, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my talk with Clint Holley. The 2 tracks I played on the show today were both by Tim Easton, and they were both recorded live at the Earnest Tube by Clint Holley himself, straight to lacquer. If you want to check out any information about the Earnest Tube or Clint's other business, which is Well Made Music, that records lacquers, I guess they both record lacquers, you can check out the Earnest Tube at theearnesttube.com or Well Made Music at wellmademusic.net. You can find them both on Instagram and Twitter, I imagine. I'm not sure. Instagram and Facebook for sure. So if you liked it, like I said at the beginning of the show, you can donate to the show at patreon.com/dollarcountry. If you want to follow me, you can do so at Dollar Country on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But the most important thing is to remember to be nice to people out there, because you never know what kind of day someone else has been having. A little bit of niceness can go a long way. People are stressed. Life is crazy right now, as it has been for the past couple months, so why not be nice, you know? So big thanks to Clint Holley for being on the show, and my name is Frank the Drifter, and I will see you next time.